Got it. There's the sound. That's on me. That's on me. See, when Ash is here, Ash does all the prominent stuff, and then all I do is stand around. And today, Ash is not here. I was saying Ash is in Orlando. Many of you have the ability to read lips and no doubt could tell where Ash was. But I just simply didn't push a button. It was a button, not even not even a series of buttons. So Scott Tompkins, the first one. Let's do the weather. Wade Carter weather is brought to you by the great folks at AT Deerland Feed. My yard has popped. The 21-7-14 blend. The timing is still decent for you to put it down. We have another holiday coming up. July 4th is right around the corner. I'd put it down now and put it down on July 15th if I missed these two. But blend.
There's still hope, you're saying.
There's still hope for your lawn. And what it does, it gives it the nutrients it needs. It also helps it make it through the ultra hot summer months. We're in that like kind of magical zone where if you plant bedding plants that are primed for this area, they're sun tolerant, they're heat tolerant. This time of year, they thrive. And then come late July, August, September, they just bake. It doesn't matter how much water you give them, they still just bake. But right now they look great, and it's because of A2 Deerland Feed. It's 81 degrees in Victoria under cloudy skies, heading to a high today of 95. Sun should come out in a little while. No real sign of rain today. We are expecting rain Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and a 45% chance on Sunday. So lots to get to today, lots of chaos, lots of questions for you. I want to see what your thoughts are. We miss Ash when he's gone. It does free me up to do whatever I want. Sometimes that's fun. Sometimes it's not. Feel free to steer the direction we take with your comments. I'm always open to your comments. I'm also open to take your calls. 361-894-4020. Let me make sure the Bluetooth is on and the roadie is connected. So in theory, if you were to call, in theory, we would be here to talk. So Scott Tomko, first one in. Mark Kurtz follows him. Greg Garcia comes in third. Wendy Hughes Garcia right after that. Scott Snow, Marvin Mickish, Lisa Poole, Ryan Hopping, Rena Shear. Hello, Rena. Ricky Champagne King, Matt Boucher. Thank you for the heads up. There's Judge Posey. There's Ms. Stewart, Lisa Poole, Will Vincent, P. Strauss. Good morning, friend. Daniel Wade White. Okay. There you go. Linda Christ, Mark Zapata. There y'all are. Bobby Leister, Monty Howard, Andrew Alvarez. Good morning, folks. So lots to get to. I think the premier story is twofold. Premier story of the day, maybe of the week, the mostly peaceful protests going on in Los Angeles, the nation's second largest city, in turmoil following, depending on who you listen to. If you listen to LA Mayor Karen Bass, it follows a provocation by the Trump administration. The reality is there were ICE agents doing their job in LA. Los Angeles now reported to be up to 40%. The overall county, 40%. I think 34% is white. The other, like 54%, is Latino, with 40% of those folks not speaking any English. It is a barrio. It is a ghetto. Los Angeles has turned into a third world country. There are many, many factors involved in that, poverty being one. Illegal immigration being one. People are walking in the streets of LA waving Mexican flags. Very interesting. Don't try that. Don't try that in Guadalajara with an American flag demanding rights. Don't do that. Bad things can happen. So ICE shows up. ICE apparently conducted a raid. It happened. I imagine it was a deal where there were people available to work. ICE raided a Home Depot parking lot, and said parking lot was full of illegals. The mayor of Los Angeles, a longtime leftist, a huge communist supporter, Karen Bass, said that Donald Trump was wrong to send the National Guard. He federalized the National Guard. In general, the governor calls up the National Guard. Gavin Newsom, of course, being wishy-washy and wanting all those votes, does nothing. And as a result, President Trump said, LA is the second largest city in the country. I've got to do something, which he did, and called up the National Guard. Now, what makes that even more interesting is, Trump is like, look, if you're spitting, when you're spitting, we're hitting. It's a quote. When you're spitting, we're hitting. Trump very frustrated that folks were spitting on our law enforcement officers, as would I be. Would not tolerate that myself. Fully support intense retaliation for physical disrespect to our law enforcement people. You can yell at them. You can take pictures of them. You can say what you want. They're built for that. You start spitting on them, assaulting them, then I have no problem with the wand coming out. I have no problem with you being sprayed with mace. I have no problem with you being shot, me personally. Right. No problem. Shoot them. Shoot them. You shoot the first couple, the rest will stop. That's how that works. But Trump deciding we're not going to tolerate that. The rule of law will prevail. President of the United States made the phone call. And I just want to give you some perspective, because you'll hear me at times get on the ugly, hateful eight, those 8 Democrat leftist fools that run our city. And they get together and they run that left side of the city. And they, they're very active. They comment on this show after it's over. Don't call, don't engage. You'll see their comments mixed in. It's typical communist stuff. You come in afterwards, you put in a little soundbite here and there, and maybe you tweak somebody's thought processes. This is why, and this is to digress, but because also this is the top story of the day. This is why you have a situation where the left in this state can't get elected. Because, see, you won't hear anybody of the hateful eight. They will all be blaming Trump. Trump escalated this. Trump brought in the National Guard. This is Trump's fault. Trump's fault. They'll never address the fact that Los Angeles is being overrun by illegal aliens. That's not, those people work hard. They pay taxes. Those are hard-working people. They're criminals. They're here illegally. They broke the law to be here. We made a vow. It was a presidential promise. I will round up these people. So now that he's doing it, they're like, dude, I didn't know. Presidents don't usually do what they say they're going to do. So Trump's a bad guy. It's all Trump, 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 Trump. You'll have it. You'll have our buddy Mike Gomez. You'll have the hateful eight. They'll be talking about Trump did this. Trump caused chaos in LA. No other crime. You can't think of a crime where somebody would say, well, I know he raped your daughter, but he's a hard worker. He works hard. That guy is the king of finishing concrete. He's a roofer. The guy works hard. I realize he robbed the bank, but he's a roofer. The guy works hard. Nobody cares how hard you work when you're a criminal. You're here illegally. President said you were going to go. LA's got a bunch of them. It's all coming together. That's what's supposed to happen. I don't know. I don't understand. I did see video. Make no mistake, I watched it on multiple platforms. Breitbart, Fox, CNN, BBC. Folks throwing explosive devices, incendiary devices, of these smoke bombs and things that were popping around officers on horseback. Shoot them. Shoot them. No problem. I'd make Kent State look like a birthday party. Shoot them. Okay? We ain't playing that. Got the mayor of LA. All she can do is deflect. I've met with the governor this morning. I listened to her live 10 minutes ago. I've met with the governor this morning. We're just very upset about look, folks, it's your First Amendment right to protest. Don't get his quote. Don't give the administration what they want. She's insinuating the Trump administration wants this chaos. Trump wants it. Yeah. Linda Chris says California should have to pay the country back for taking care of their riots. They are far from peaceful riots. Andrew Alvarez says the rioters should be hunted down like they did the J6ers. They should be charged and prosecuted as felons for interfering with federal government activities. And if the mayor and governor interfere, they too should be charged and prosecuted. That would make them felons, and they would not be able to hold office or vote. Wendy Hughes sums it up. Los Angeles is a cesspool. Yeah. Greg Garcia says the Hateful Eight lack the courage of their convictions. You're exactly right. Good morning, Mom. My mom checking in. Stephanie Miller's in. Good morning. I hurt for LA, except that you reap what you sow. I mean, these people, we're a sanctuary city. We're a city for all Angelinos, no matter where you were born or how you got here. They encourage illegal immigration. They encourage illegals to come to LA. Good morning, Lorena. And then when things go bad, when you see people in a crowd, they're waving the flag of a foreign land. They're burning our flag in the streets. And when the president says, you're spitting on law enforcement, you're throwing smoke bombs, you're getting more and more organized, more and more violent, you're rioting, you're looting. See, because there's a segment of LA, there's probably a segment of every large city. There's a segment of LA that goes, hey, man, let's go down to Target and get some food. What are they going to do? They can't arrest us all. Their Chips and LAPD, they're out on the highway because these idiot rioters went out in the middle of Highway 101 and stopped traffic. And what you may not know about California is, like here in Texas, I can give somebody a couple of warnings and go, you need to get out of the front of my car. I've got a pregnant wife. I'm taking her to the hospital. You're in my way. My gut feeling would be never get out of the car. I'm not going to get out of the car and drag some protester out from in front of my car. I will give them a chance to really, really be committed to their protest. That's one thing about the Raptor. I can go right over the top of a leftist protester with just like a ba-boom. No problem. I might not even feel it. Ba-boom. And I would. Sorry, I did not see them. Please call State Farm and file a claim. Ba-boom. That's what you would hear from the left. In California, you're going to prison for that. Your mirror brushes the arm of some idiot walking down the 101 freeway holding a sign that America sucks, and you bump him. You used your car as a weapon against that poor, peaceful protester. Jeremy Pena, good morning. And that's how that would go down. That's why we don't live there. That's why we live in Texas. So I'm going to flip it back to you and ask you a question. If you woke up tomorrow and found out that illegal aliens from whatever, Guatemala, Honduras, Mexico, whatever country, were gathered up, storming, rioting the streets of Houston, Texas, and they're waving their Guatemalan flag, and they're rioting and looting local businesses in the Houston metropolitan area, how long do you think it would take Governor Greg Abbott to mobilize the National Guard? About a phone call. That's how long it would take. Am I right, Cody?
Yes, sir.
The governor would say, that's ridiculous. We're not tolerating that. The fact that Gavin Newsom didn't do that is the reason Donald Trump had to do that. This is all on the appeasing side of the leftist fools that run California. And you only see this in leftist Democrat-run communities. You saw it in places like Portland, Seattle, with the chads and the looting and the defecating in the streets and the complete lunacy that makes you think that Walking Dead is a documentary. These people are nuts. They're not protesting. They're creating chaos. And the left loves it. As you can see today, the leftist communist mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, totally deflecting. As she said, less than peaceful protest will not be tolerated. Okay. How many cops do you have to really maintain order in the second largest city in the country? I don't get it. It just doesn't work. Unbelievable. Let's see. I love the comments. Appreciate you folks pulling us through. Let me give you a couple here if I can get this thing back up here. Greg Garcia said, if they're loyal to another country, then why are they here? Could it be the freedom and benefits that they don't get anywhere else? That's exactly what it is, right? And you see it all the time. They come here waving the flag of their foreign country while being beneficiaries of the American way of life, whether it be working. Now, there are people that say, well, if American employers didn't employ them, then they wouldn't be here. So really, this is all the fault of the concrete contractor. It's his fault because that's why the guy came here. Okay, I mean, I won't even argue with that. Those people should be fined as well. But the illegals need to go. That's kind of like saying, well, it doesn't make sense to arrest a drug dealer because if people didn't, snort cocaine, we wouldn't have a drug dealer. Okay, but you grab what you can grab, right? You get rid of the negative element you can get rid of. Yeah. So Lisa Poole asks a question that I don't know the answer to. She says, how about the guy in Houston Galleria getting out of his car and shooting at cars this weekend? It just wouldn't be a smart thing to do around here. I mean, it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be good. Let's see what David Brogger has to say. Random says, I called you last night for your air fryer wing recipe. I tried it and they were great. I'll be at the chopping block for more to cook. No doubt about it. Get by the chopping block. Let's take a quick break. Take a deep breath, kind of regroup. Thank you, Cody. Chopping block for all your protein needs. Get by and the ballpark.
Is protein a word?
It is in Europe.
Oh, okay.
That's how they always, add. So like aluminium. Okay. Just add that extra I in there.
You sure that's not a Canadian thing?
No, I think it's British.
Okay.
One of those sub countries. There's the United States, the oldest, greatest, and biggest nation, comprising an entire continent.
Obviously.
And then there's the others. Chopping block for all your food. Get by there for all your meats. They do such a great job. John Turner, Sean Neely out at the food truck. It's a great place to go for lunch. Just stop by and smoked meats, and then things you don't, like boudin stuffed quail breast. I mean, go get stuff like that. They've got it. They have all the wrapped bacon poppers and things that are fresh. It's just a great, great stop. The office is at 205. JP Hull and Mr. Geets have put together a wonderful facility here. If you need an office, you want to rent one by the month, give them a call. Beautiful hardwood floors, high ceilings, great acoustics, a great place to make phone calls from. Be a great call center. Somebody that wants to make calls. Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends. Get by Palace. You don't need us. It's more fun when we're there. But Palace is open daily. Go by Palace. Your money, a portion of your proceeds go to 6 or 7 area charities.
7.
7 charities. Thank you, Commander, with the clarification. My
Yes, sir.
fact checker. White Trash Services, White Trash Site Services. Give White Trash a call. By the way, as the heat comes up, White Trash will be coming by earlier. Be aware of that. Maybe put your cans out earlier in the evening. Put them out the night before. It says right here, beginning Monday, June 9th, our residential routes will be starting service at 5:30 a.m. So if you're used to walking out at 7 and putting your can out, you need to put it out the night before.
Today is June 9th.
That's
so,
right.
So we're kind of behind already.
I did not choose to go live last night over that. But yes, starting today. Chesnick Furniture. Chesnick and Love make your house a home. Get by and see why you just always do better at Chesnick. Nicest people on the planet. Tell them about your needs. Tell them you've got small children. I don't really want cloth. I need leather because my kid throws up on it. They can get you all the furniture you need for your home. All types of accoutrement, all types of bedding. They have Tempur-Pedic bedding, Sealy Posturepedic bedding, Stearns & Foster-Pedic bedding. Get by and see those folks. They do a great job. So we're back. Yeah, Linda Christ, I agree with you. She says all the chaos is why the Democrats no longer have a valid party or anybody to run. I don't see how. I think the angle politically is if we can blame all this on Trump, then maybe people will vote against the Republicans in the midterms. I think it's going to backfire. I think even Californians, can you imagine being a Californian and you're just trying to get on the freeway to run down to see your mom on a Sunday morning, and all of a sudden you're surrounded by rioters waving flags from a foreign land and they're threatening to catch your van on fire? This is it's not good. Monty Howard says there's little doubt that there is dark foreign political money and influence in LA and California metros at the core of all of this. And I can't disagree. I think that's what it is. I think this is people trying to sow chaos, people trying to goad the Trump administration into doing something. Zed Stewart points out that his guys all have their green cards. There you go. Good morning, Marina. Welcome in. Kendra Douglas. Yeah. Junior asked, did they pass a law that if a protester gets hit while blocking a road, no charges to the driver? I don't know that. I know that it used to be much stricter in California than it is here. Like here, oh, that was incidental contact. Like, you're thinking somebody's going to say, no, that's an offensive foul. We're going that way. Nah. You step out in front of a car in Victoria, Texas. That's one of the things that we had about the panhandlers. What happens when they step off the curb and get hit by a car, and then they want to sue the guy that hit them with the car? That's a deal. So we tried to, get a law passed that you can't panhandle within 150 feet of an intersection. Made too much sense. People on the left were against that. Foreign Bales, good morning, my friend. So you got that going on. I'm curious. I mean, it absolutely is the dominant story of the day. We have probably ridden this horse as far as we can ride it right now. There are ramifications. We can always Jin Saki. We can always circle back to it later if y'all would like. But I'll go through the New York Times, the morning. I mean, their protest, their point is the National Guard is in LA. The U.S. is meeting with China today for trade talks in London. I have no idea who's going. Cody, do you know who our representative is? I know it's not the president.
I will look it up for us.
I'm just curious who's going. Israel intercepted a ship that was headed to Gaza with some aid. Greta Thunberg was on board that ship because she cares so deeply. And of course, is an illiterate post-teen now. But she's there because she cares. Very interesting. Israel, see if I can get it. The photos from LA are just, I see an officer here getting out of a cruiser, and there's just 1, 2 Mexican flags, a whole bunch of signs, and a whole bunch of people. And folks, by the way, I did not know that Mexico had such a large Muslim population.
All right, we got U.S. Treasury Secretary. This is for the talks in China.
Yes.
With China in London.
Yes, sir.
The Commerce Secretary and a trade representative. So Bessanet, Lutnick, and Greer are the three. I cannot pronounce the Chinese names. I apologize.
That is okay. Chi, Chow, and Chong. That's good. I like it. Scrolling down. I was going to try to find some data on it says the Gaza-bound ship that Israel intercepted also carried Rima Hassan, a member of European Parliament. Israel called it a selfie yacht. That makes sense. These folks wanted to be on board. They wanted to get their picture made because they care. They care so much about the Palestinians. Meanwhile, Israel confirmed that a leader of the violent side of Hamas, which, by the way, could be like saying jumbo shrimp, could be an oxymoron. That guy was killed. Interesting that they found his body in the rubble underneath a hospital. But DNA confirms that guy is dead. He was the brother of another person that Israel eliminated who was also instrumental in the now October of 23. This is dragged on, pushing 2 years, at least a year and a half to date. 2,000 National Guardsmen. There you go. Going through. Oh, the other big news, sad news actually. Colombia getting ready for their presidential elections. Colombian opposition presidential candidate Miguel Uribe Turbay remains in critical condition after an assassination attempt Saturday in Bogota. A 15-year-old suspect has been arrested. Officials are searching for potential accomplices. Shooting took place at a rally. The 39-year-old Turbay, in the middle of his speech, was reportedly shot 3 times and underwent both head and leg surgery. He's been a senator since 22 and has called for a crackdown on crime. Isn't that ironic? Recent polls show him lagging the front runners. I'm sure Colombia's elections are all above board. Officials have not identified his motive. His grandfather was former President Julio Cesar Turbay Ayala, a liberal politician who served from 78 to 82. His mother was a journalist. She was kidnapped by a group linked to Pablo Escobar and killed in a 91 rescue attempt. This guy's been surrounded by violence and politics his whole life. Very interesting. Got that going for you. Take a quick break, solve some problems. Folks, Atzenhofer is the home for your next Chevrolet. Get into Atzenhofer. Get a gently pre-owned pickup. They've got a bunch of units on the lot, and they have a lot of new vehicles as well. Go by and see Atzenhofer. Check it out at atzenhofer.com. Since 1926, Atzenhofer has been Victoria's dealership. They do great things. They're great people. They're easy to work with, and they want you to be happy. Went services for all your generator needs. Went now preparing to fly a 30-foot American flag as you come in on 87 to basically announce your arrival in Victoria. They're going to light it up at night. It's going to fly over our city. Big, beautiful American flag, 30-footer. So get by Went, give them a call for all your electrical needs. Let them help you with a turnkey generator. Veracruz, the best Mexican food in town. It's Monday. Get back into Veracruz. Go see Lee and Ida and the whole group. Mary, Glenda, they're all great. Super nice people. Rick, they will work with you, help you have a great, great dining experience. Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Allen can help you get from here to there. Allen is your go-to to. Whatever you need done, if you're in Refugio, Goliad, all the way to Gonzales, you give them a call, they'll be there. The Dollar Floor Store, whether you need vinyl, or you want plank flooring, hardwood flooring, veneers, carpet, tile, waterproof, indoor, outdoor, you get the picture. Reach out to the Dollar Floor Store right there on the Vero. They can help you get what you need. Para Vita Wellness and the Vita Cafe. Vita Cafe offering breakfast. That bowl that I had the other day was great. It had eggs, it had brisket, it had cottage cheese. We fed the sweet potatoes to Riker the Wonder Dog.
Yep. June 28th is going to be their brunch opening. So she texted.
That's going to be on a Sunday?
No, that's a Saturday.
Saturday, okay.
Yeah, they're going to start having weekend brunch from 8 to 3. She texted me yesterday and asked me if we would announce it, and I forgot to tell you.
Well, there you go. But I'm glad you did announce it. How about this? Payday for college athletes. So you would think that with me being a Texas grad, that I would be all wound up about NIL, that because we've got more money than anybody, right? I mean, in theory, Texas has tons of money. So do the Aggies. So does Michigan. The big schools have a ton of money that they can throw at athletes, which makes it impractical that like Colorado can compete or Colorado State. How are they going to compete with Texas if we're buying players? Federal judge approved a $2.8 billion agreement by the NCAA to settle 3 separate antitrust cases Friday evening. A long anticipated decision expected to overhaul the nature of college sports. In addition to compensating current and former athletes, the ruling will allow schools to directly pay athletes up to a capped amount, $20.5 million per school, beginning this fall. Despite generating more than $1 billion in annual revenue, the NCAA has maintained strict amateurism rules around player compensation dating back to its launch in 1906. A landmark 21 legal ruling allowed players to earn income based on their name, image, and likeness, NIL. This led to largely unregulated booster collectives at the largest universities. The top 15 groups reportedly spent more than $200 million last year. That would be Texas, Michigan, Ohio State, A&M. Go from there. USC, Alabama. Friday's decision allows schools to vet third-party payments to individual players. Payments could begin as early as July 1st, barring an appeal. Very interesting. Ash will have more on this. He's at a athletic directors conference. This will be a topic. What do you do if you don't have an extra $20.5 million to pay? Interesting developments. If you look at like this last weekend, hats off, Hook 'em Horns. Very proud of the Horns softball program. The Women's College World Series was held in Oklahoma, and I think it's in Oklahoma. And Texas beat Texas Tech 2 out of 3. Texas Tech has a pitcher named Najari Kennedy. Last year she was at Stanford. Tech paid her over $1 million to come and pitch for them. And they're paying her. They, during the College World Series, announced an extension of her contract, if you will, that she's going to return to Tech, and they'll pay her 7 figures, they said, again, to pitch for them. I have no problem with it. It's the best money they've ever spent. I mean, she was wonderful. She did a great job. Texas won 2 out of 3 from the Red Raiders. So hats off to Texas for a national championship in softball. But it's a great example of when I was in college, when Patrick Strauss was playing ball, you were lucky if you got half a scholarship. You know, we'll give you books. Your parents have to pay your tuition. You couldn't earn it any other way. You weren't allowed to work. You didn't have time to work. So at the end of the day, you were somewhat beholden to the university. Some people got books. Some people got tuition. Now, got a cousin that's very, very active with Texas A&M. And he said that this last year that every player on A&M's roster had, quote, at least a minimum NIL deal. Now, what that means is all of them were absolutely on a full ride scholarship. No tuition, no books, their housing allowance was provided. And they all received not necessarily the same amount, but everybody on that program received some extra money from NIL. A&M, honestly, trying to become the New York Yankees of college baseball. Just pay everybody. Very interesting. Texas Tech has a benefactor. I don't remember his name. Maybe Cody can Google him up. He was a former offensive football player, lineman at Texas Tech, billionaire, sold a bunch of Permian Basin leases. He went in and bought up all the little bitty leases, combined them all together and sold them to a bigger company. Made billions. And he has begun funding Texas Tech athletics. And I'm fine with it.
Is this Cody Campbell?
Yes. Yeah, Cody Campbell. Very, very wealthy gentleman. Young guy, too. He's like early 40s, I think.
Wish all the Codys were wealthy.
Oh. But he's a very wealthy guy. Very, very committed to his alma mater. But, I mean, what if you are, SMU has the Dallas businessmen. Baylor has, what's the guy's name? McMullen. What was the guy's name? The guy that has the trucking company in Waco that used to own the Astros? I'm just drawing a blank. But they all have their benefactors.
McLean?
Yeah, yes. Thank you.
Drayton McLean.
Drayton McLean. He was a huge, huge Baylor supporter. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, Marina's followed up with the Israelis intercepted a ship that was going to Gaza. And Reuters reported the selfie yacht of the celebrities is safely making its way to the shores of Israel. The passengers are expected to return to their home countries. All passengers were safe and unharmed. It later added they were provided with sandwiches and water. The show is over. Very, very, very interesting. HR Matter says, wasn't it 10-3 in that second game? That was actually the third game, I think. So, you know what, HR? I could be wrong. Texas may have gotten really beaten badly in the game that Tech won. I don't remember. So Texas won the first game, and we reported then that 80% of the time, the one that wins the first game wins the 3-game series. And then Tech won the second game, forcing the third rubber match game, and Texas won that one. I think Texas won that game like 10-3, something like that. Softball is an exciting game. Amazingly, Really, as a baseball aficionado, I find softball, it happens quicker. It's a fun game, and that's right. Pete Strauss says the first two were 1-run games. Patrick, I'd be curious if you agree. The baseball guy in me finds parts of softball kind of, like, oh wow, that's a home run. It was a pop up, but you can be down 6 or 7 runs in a softball game at a high level and come back and win 12-10. That happens a lot in softball. But 2 really good teams. Texas Tech did a great job. Their coach, what a primer for other coaches. I love it when a grown man, I would say I don't know, their coach at Tech, he's probably 60. He just said, man, what a great experience. What a great atmosphere. The fans here were amazing. These girls have created memories for a lifetime. So proud to be here representing Texas Tech. And I was just like, just tip your cap to the guy. Pure class. You don't have people whining about the officiating, people, none of that. He was like, we're just glad to be here. And he meant it. You hear those guys all the time, right? I'm just here taking it one day at a time, just trying to help. Just seeing what I can do. That'll lead to the Astros update. Astros update brought to you by the great folks, First State Bank of Louise. If I go here and I go to MLB, I'll go to Major League Baseball right there. Astros take 2 out of 3 in Cleveland. Winning the series is really, you win series and over time you win championships. Yesterday they lose 4-2. The loss went to Okert. The young kid they brought up, I think his name was Walter. So the Astros, and I'm speaking from memory here, but it's a good memory. The Astros are in the process of parting ways with Forrest Whitley. Forrest Whitley, I can recall in 2016 was a first-round draft pick. He was the 17th overall pick. Young man, big arm, kind of a freak, tall, thin, threw the ball really hard. Just been besieged. He had Tommy John surgery. He did a stint in drug rehab that I don't believe was recreational. I think he was on some performance stuff. I can't be positive, and I'm not trying to judge the kid. But the Astros have waffled around for 10 years babysitting what turned out to be a bad pick. And he had a 12.17 ERA this year and just never he was going to be a big starter. He was going to be Hunter Brown. They thought one day he might be Justin Verlander. He's just not. And that's okay. I believe Joe Espada, I could tell in his comments, was really torn about this. He's known the kid for his entire career. And remember that when we do this, Forrest Whitley's only 27 years old. I mean, I've got kids 27 that I still think of as kids. He's just been in a really tough business, had surgeries, had setbacks, tore up a knee, all types of physical ailments. And yet he still has a very live arm. I believe somebody will give him a chance. When you designate someone for assignment in Major League Baseball, he's out of minor league options. So either somebody has to claim him and put him on their big league roster, or he can clear those waivers and the Astros can send him back to the minor leagues. But because he's out of options, they basically need to give him the opportunity to move on. And Espada said he's a fine guy. He's a great teammate. And, maybe this gives him a chance to reset and somebody can pick him up. And he goes, I wouldn't be surprised to see him do great things, nor would I. But he just didn't have it in Houston. And the reality is the Astros have done a masterful job just Joe Espada has done a tremendous job. He's been playing for a month now without Yordan Alvarez. He's been moving people around. You've had Arrighetti's been out. Blanco's been out. You've got guys that are expected to be mainstays of your pitching rotation out. You know, they're bringing in guys like Walter and Okert, still leading the division. They did a running 12-month from June 8th of 24 through June 8th of 25. The Houston Astros had the highest winning percentage in Major League Baseball, 0.590. I mean, winning 6 out of 10. It's not like they're 8-2 every week, but they're 0.590, led Major League Baseball in over the last running 12 months. So the Astros are in a good spot. If I go to the standings, that's when I miss Ash. Yankees played last night against the Red Sox and got beat. That was just a slugfest. There were just balls flying out of the park. It was fun to watch. I'm glad it wasn't us. Astros now 36-29 at a 5.54 clip. Seattle is second, 2.5 games back already at 33-31. The Astros have lost one. Nobody has won more than 2 in a row. That would be the Rangers, who are 31-35, and they're 5.5 games back. So that's your lineup: Astros, Mariners, Rangers, Angels, Athletics. Chicago White Sox now 22-44. Trying to think if there's anybody. The Colorado Rockies are 12-53. Can you imagine being 12-53? I'll tell you who used to be the Houston Astros before Jose Altuve became the Hall of Fame great that he is. Yes, P. Strauss, I agree. He says that's the worst lineup the Stros ran on the field in a long time yesterday. What they did is they let Jeremy Pena pinch hit, and I think he went 0-for-4 and broke a 13-game hitting streak. What was the kid's name? Brandon something. He played some second base. Last name began with an R. I just don't know what's happened to him. He was playing quite often. Altuve would play left, and this
Brendan Rodgers.
What is he on the DL or something? I mean, I don't know why he's not playing. They played the kid from they brought a kid up from Sugarland. Jay Whitcomb. Whitcomb played some second yesterday. But I agree with P. Strauss. It was a lackluster lineup. And you know, with Pena on the bench and Jose sitting, I mean, it was a bad time to actually own a ticket, you know, because you go to see the superstars. Is that right, Patrick, that Rodgers hasn't done well? Okay. To quote P. Strauss, because he has sucked this year. Okay, we're talking baseball. That's a baseball term, and he sucks. Yeah, we can do that. Worth pointing out, First State Bank of Louise, get in. I still think a great investment in your kids is to teach them how to manage money. My parents did it for me. Didn't work, but they did it. They did their part. I didn't do mine. But get in, free checking, free savings. You can teach your kid, I think, good, solid advice. Give some of your money back to the Lord. Put some in savings. And then enjoy some. Put some in your checking account as a kid. It's good for a kid to have their own money. I've watched Caden, is 17 now, and he works hard. And he works for a lot of different people. And I watched Caden say, well, I've got these 3 checks. And without me telling him, he puts the 2 big ones in his savings account. And he puts the little one in his checking account. It's not a bad gig for Caden. It's kind of like when your kid decides to have a lemonade stand. Mom buys the ice. Mom buys the country time. Mom buys the pitcher. Mom already has the table. mom does all these things. The kid makes all the money.
Chops the lemons.
Yeah.
Measures out the sugar.
Sure. And the kid makes all the money. Look how much money I made. I made $36. Mom's in for 50 just to get the lemonade stand going. You know, I'm like, Caden, we bought the Jeep. We pay the insurance. Hey, Mom, I need some gas. He thinks he pays for it when Mom Venmos him gas money. No, you didn't pay for it. But then he works, and then so I don't charge. We don't charge him rent, but it's not a bad gig for a kid. But he works hard. I'm proud of him. Does a great job. But had a would share with y'all just because it's worth noting. To me, this is me cleansing myself. Cody, feel free to help me cleanse here. Mark Kirchmore said, kind of like this show. Thanks, Mama Carter. Yeah, Mom pays it. Mom, the rent is due, Mom, if you want to pay the station. But it is funny. Like I enjoy the banter of live radio. I enjoy labeling. Oh, they're an idiot. Oh, that guy's a fool. I mean, okay. That is not always how I feel about certain people, certain individuals, certain groups. It's radio. It's to incite a response. It's to get you to think. It's quite often I have people say to me, man, Carter, you say what I'm thinking, but I would never be dumb enough to say it. Okay. I mean, and I'm okay with that. That's the edge that I want to push. I am not inhumane. I am not racist. I am not misogynistic, homophobic, sexist, any more than anybody else who has a set of mores. But the idea that we have in this country an element that encourages like a free-for-all, it's a problem. You have the absolute leadership of the state of California acquiescing to extremist behavior. It's okay in their minds that there's rioters, looters, because those people work hard. It's okay that they knowingly broke the law to be here. Because, man, that law just shouldn't exist. That law is not fair to them. They're just trying to find a better life. Everybody should absolutely be able to apply for asylum in our country. They can. There are very specific rules about asylum in this country. You can't just say, I don't like Honduras anymore. I need political asylum. If you're not a group that's under oppression, if you're not in fear of your life in your country, if there's not mitigating circumstances in your world, then stay in your country and solve your country's problems. We've got problems here. We have homeless veterans who need mental health care. That trumps avocado pickers. Sorry, it just does. We have people who are genuinely homeless, as opposed to what I believe are the majority who are willingly homeless. I believe the majority of the people that sleep on the streets have made the decision that that's the way they want to live. You give them $50 and they spend 45 of it on crystal meth. Well, okay, then good. And you're not going to rehabilitate all of them. And if they pass in the night, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Let them die. Contribute. We're always going to have the indigent. We're always going to have the poor. We're always going to have the mentally unstable. And we should work together as a society. The way you treat the least of your people is a sign of who you are as a country. And when you choose to be the least, when you choose not to be productive, when you choose to waste your life on drugs, booze, whatever, to me, you're useless. Either why don't you go be an illegal immigrant somewhere? Take your crack pipe, and go somewhere else. We shouldn't be spending billions of dollars placating all these zombie drug heads walking around Los Angeles, for example. Their governor does nothing for them. Oh, they'll give them a safe place and clean needles. They don't do anything for them. So I'm not a hater, but I'm very much a realist. We have some of these same problems. I mean, just a month ago, our sheriff's office confiscated right here in town 2 kilos of, I think, crystal meth, but more importantly, a big old brick of black tar heroin in Victoria, Texas. You know, those, and if I remember correctly, the person who had it is a frequent flyer in our jail. Let's lock that person up. Let's get them out of here. But they work hard, Brent. They work hard. Man, they work hard selling their drugs. You see how dumb that sounds? So you're an illegal alien, but he works hard. Oh, man, that guy, he can sling those shingles, but he's here illegally. He's a criminal. Don't get mad when the president keeps his word and wraps them up. So hopefully tomorrow we'll have nicer things to talk about than LA. It is worth noting the CDC, Center for Disease Control, the August Egg Company, it's always eggs now, Cody, recalled 1.7 million dozen brown, cage-free, and brown certified organic eggs sold under multiple names. They have the potential to be contaminated, salmonella being what we're after. Consumers who purchase the eggs, this would be certified organic eggs and brown cage-free eggs. You purchased eggs at Walmart, Save Mart, Fox Max, Lucky, Smart and Final, Safeway, Rayleigh's, Food for Less, and Ralph's. You should throw them out or return them to the store where they were purchased. To date, no deaths have been reported, but 21 people have been hospitalized. Folks, we wish you nothing but a great day. I hope you have a great day. I'll be here mañana. God bless you. Go win the day. If you don't win Monday, you can't win the week. Bye, folks.
I've been kicked out of my near every bar around. I've been locked up for driving 120 through town.